Junto con X-Men, Batman, la serie animada, es una de las mejores producciones de ficciones animadas, justamente de superhéroes. Ya hice una entrevista de X-Men, les dejo el link acá arriba. Ahora llegó el turno de hablar de Batman, la serie animada, y también de una de las películas que se desprendió de esta serie de Batman, la máscara del fantasma. Todo esto con uno de los productores ejecutivos y responsables de desarrollar la serie, con Tom Ruegger, que me contó absolutamente todos los detalles de esta producción, desde cómo fue que nació, cómo fue que apareció, por ejemplo, Harley Quinn, y qué problemas tuvieron a lo largo de esta increíble e histórica producción llamada Batman, la serie animada.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
Back then, of course, Batman the movie had come out, and Warner Brothers was very excited about that, and it was very successful. We had just made Tiny Toons at Warner Brothers Animation, and they thought they could create a symbiotic relationship between Batman, the live action movie, and Batman the animated series at Warner Brothers Animation. The bosses at Warner Brothers at the time were Terry Semel and Bob Daly, and they came to the head of Warner Brothers Animation, Gene McCurdy, and they said, hey, what do you think about doing a Batman series? So Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski at that moment went back to their offices and started drawing. Bruce Timm came up with some designs for Batman and a few characters that he thought would be good in the show. Eric Radomski took out some black paper, a black board, and started painting images of Gotham on this black surface. So he was definitely going for this dark look. And so they both came to Gene McCurdy and they said, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And she loved them both. And she showed them to me and I thought they were great. And so Gene then said, okay, Eric Radomski, Bruce Timm, can you make a little some test footage? And they gladly accepted that challenge, and they storyboarded it, and they designed it, and they designed the characters and the backgrounds, and then they hired out a little company to animate it, and it was beautiful, and the sound was good, and it was a fight on a rooftop, Batman and a thug, and it was beautifully done, very dramatic, and very dark. But there are all sorts of problems along the way that, Fox thought, oh, it's too violent, it's too dark, kids won't like it, and kids loved it.
Yeah, I was one of them.
All of us involved were big fans of a set of cartoons made in the early 1940s. They were the Fleischer Superman cartoons. And they're worth watching. And we emulated those quite a bit. And those were made even before noir officially started. Like, I think noir films started like almost post-war, but in the middle, right there. These Superman movies, they were shorts. They were 7-minute long cartoons. They were beautifully made, but they had a noir look. So, noir films are all about shadows and things lurking in the night, and around the corner, you just see the eyes of the character. I can show here. I'm going to even actually show you an example like that.
Yeah.
You have just the eyes of Batman, or the eyes of a character peering out. We were making little noir movies with the Batman series. That was each 22-minute episode was supposed to be its own little movie. And
I am not a disgrace. I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman.
You mentioned at the beginning this like symbiotic relationship with Batman the animated series and Batman the movie from Tim Burton. How was that, and how much do you owe to Tim Burton?
Well, there's a book out. I could find the book. It says that Tim Burton produced Batman the animated series. And it's just not true. He did not. We produced it. Tim Burton was not involved. We we told Tim Burton that we were making an animated series and we were going to try to keep the tone of his movies in the series, and he was all for that. The only sort of weird wrinkle, Danny Elfman did the music for the Tim Burton movies. And his arranger, Shirley Walker, because Danny Elfman was a hummer. He would hum the tune, and then his arranger would orchestrate it and put it, we have strings over here and we have the horns. And so we had the smart idea of getting Shirley Walker to come do Batman the Animated Series. And she wrote all the music, the theme song for our show and all the music, just an incredible talent. The inside story is that Danny Elfman then came and said, hey, that's my music. And it wasn't his music, it was Shirley Walker's music. But I think what happened was to satisfy, and the front office is trying to keep Danny Elfman and Tim Burton, everybody happy. So I think there was an arrangement made that Danny Elfman received some credit for some of the Batman the Animated Series music. But really, Shirley Walker is the genius behind the great, great music. And, I'm more and more coming to the realization that music in animation is really the pulse. It's the heartbeat of the cartoons, of the animation. Harley Quinn was created by Paul Deeney, and it was drawn upon its creation by Bruce Timm. And the two of them sort of nursed Harley Quinn, especially Paul Deeney, who based it on an actress he knew named Arlene Sorkin, who he was friendly with, and she voiced the character originally, and she made it a very fun, zany character. So Paul Deeney and Bruce took Harley Quinn, and she was the Joker's girlfriend, but then she just veered off on her own. She's just too strong, too big a character, too fun a character to just stick her with the Joker forever, because Joker has his own issues and problems. Harley Quinn is a brand new thing.
When I was a doctor, I was always listening to other people's problems. Then I met Mr. J, who listened to me for a change and made everything fun. I'm
delighted that Batman the Animated Series worked then, and it still works. I think you look at the stuff we were making right then. We were making Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs all at the same time. Both those shows really survive intact beautifully. They're both, and it's really because of it's the people that we had there. We weren't getting rich making the shows, but a lot of us had been in animation for a number of years, and animation up to through the 80s was kind of like cranking out sausages for the kiddie market, and it was not terribly satisfying. So suddenly at Warner Brothers, we had this budget to make good cartoons like with Tiny Toons, and then same with Batman the Animated Series. So all these people that again, we weren't getting rich, but we were able to do what we wanted to do all our lives, and that has been to make really great cartoons, really great animated shows. So we were totally stoked to be working on funny stuff like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, to be working on completely hyper dramatic stuff like Batman the Animated Series. And we hadn't had these opportunities prior to this. So Warner Brothers, thankfully, they were giving us this opportunity to make high budget shows, full scores, beautiful animation. We took the time with all the writing. We had really good writers, really good producers, directors, storyboard artists, animators. We had the cream of the crop. People from all over town wanted to work on these shows because they knew we weren't going to put it on the air unless it was good.
Yeah.
And so we kind of changed the playbook for animation in our town at that point. So now everybody wanted to do a Batman the Animated Series, but they didn't have the personnel who and the vision that like Bruce and Eric and Paul and Alan Burnett brought to it.
The Dark Knight confronts his newest and most menacing villain.
Your angel of death awaits.
Every episode was like a short film. And then you got Batman Mask of the Phantasm, that is, again, one of the best superhero movies. Can you tell me how was the concept of that? How did that begin?
Well, that was going to be a TV, an animated video for the home video market. Batman Mask of the Phantasm. The show had been doing well, but it was on TV. All the episodes were booked for TV. So Warner Brothers Home Entertainment said, hey, could we make a movie like, you know, for home video, and then we can make some money, you know, from the home video market.
Yeah.
So Alan Burnett came up with the whole script and story for that particular story for Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And we made it on a TV budget. It was, you know, I think it wasn't, we didn't even send it to our top animation group overseas. We just had to crank it out. So we cranked it out, and then the head people, they said, oh, we have a little slot here in December. We could maybe give it a theatrical run for a few weeks, and maybe that would boost the DVD sales. So that's exactly what they did. They opened it on Christmas Day here in the US.
And why isn't Robin in this movie or Dick Grayson?
I don't think we were, when we wrote it, we weren't definitely convinced we were going to bring Robin into it a great deal, into the series. But I think the next year we had Robin in it, big. But I don't think we had figured out Robin yet. So yeah. we didn't want, and we didn't know where we were going to go with Robin. So we didn't want this movie to, you know, mess with that. Normally, the Batman show is not filled with flashbacks. So
yeah.
This movie really was not linear in the telling of the story. And I actually took before we released it, I took the movie and I cut it up into a linear format, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, the animated movie.